Welcome to Atlanta, Georgia. The Rockies embarking on a 9-game road trip over the next 10 days. Turner Field the spot for the first 3 as the Rockies renew acquaintances with the Braves. The Braves find themselves in first place in the National League East. That is a familiar spot for them. And the Rockies are just 3 back of the San Francisco Giants after concluding that series. Well, I guess sort of. They didn't really conclude it yesterday as that game was suspended. And they'll pick up that ball game in September. With George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. Glad that you are along with all of us. When you think of the Atlanta Braves, you think of pitching. And this year, despite a myriad of injuries, it's no different.
It all happens. I don't know how they do this. They go and get guys off the scrap heap. Gavin Floyd, who's starting tonight. Rank has been a mainstay in this. You look at their starters, though, second in the National League right now. Relievers, look at where they are, 4th in the National League. 7 pitchers have been on the DL this season with them. 3/5 of the rotation has been gone. 7 different starters have been used this year. Not only that, they're 7th in catching the baseball. They play pretty good defense. They're 13th in hitting. They have not swung the bats, although they can hurt you at times. And they've got that little guy they run out in the 9th. He's really good, Craig Kimbrell, to shut games down. And he's even had a couple of bumps in the road this year, but 100% now.
Well, you mentioned the guy that's pitching tonight, Gavin Floyd. He had Tommy John surgery a little more than a year ago. It looks like he's bounced back quite nicely.
He has, and it was one of those make-good contracts. We'll bring you in. If you show that you can pitch and you can help us, we'll give you time to get ready. And if you can, we'll pay you. Well, he's gotten ready, and they're paying him, and he's doing a very nice job in the rotation.
The Rockies will counter with Jordan Lyles, who grew up not all that far from here in Atlanta. Rockies and Braves come on back to Turner Field with us. To by your neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota, let's go places. By CenturyLink, your link to what's next. by Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo customers get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. And by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Always good to be in Atlanta, Georgia. Turner Field. Nice crowd gathering on this holiday weekend. The Rockies will play 3 in Atlanta this year, and similar to last year when they got together 7 times with the Braves, they will get together 7 times with them this year. In a couple of weeks, the Braves will be in Denver to play a 4-game set. They said the weather has been beautiful lately, and it's a gorgeous evening, but it was hot today. Temperature in our car on the way over today, Frazier, 98.
Yeah, it was a little warm here in Atlanta with the humidity. It makes it a kind of an adjustment for players as you get here and get involved in this. You got to drink an awful lot of water and stay hydrated when you get in Atlanta.
Kerwin Danley going over the ground rules with Walt Weiss, and there's Freddie Gonzalez, of course, on the left. And the veteran Gavin Floyd going to the mound. Rockies have a lot of connections to Atlanta, and Charlie Blackmon is one. He lives here in the offseason. He played at Georgia Tech. So he's got a lot of friends and family at the ballpark tonight. Here's the rest of Walt's lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Cadio bats second. He's in at 319. Then Tulowitzki leading the big leagues at 380. Justin Morneau back cleanup. Cargo feeling better. Took swings today underneath in the cage. If all goes well, he should be in there tomorrow once again. Nolan Arenado will bat 5th. Corey Dickerson will play for Cargo in left field. He's batting 343. That ain't bad. Jordan Pacheco will do the catching tonight. Give Willeen Rosario a break. DJ LeMahieu and Jordan Lyles.
A lot of times when you go through that injury, you go and battle through it to come back, and a lot of times you feel your way through it. 3 starts, 0-1, 241 earned run average over those 18 2/3. Walks way down 5, and he's never walked a lot in his career. 17 strikeouts. And interesting, too, because really starting to sink the ball, utilize the off-speed. And I think the heavy air here in Atlanta has allowed only 1 home run on the opponents, just 274.
All of those numbers brought to you by Inova Cancer Care. Non-surgical treatment of prostate cancer. Visit InovaCC.com. Well, last year, Frazier, when the Rockies were in town, things did not go well. The Rockies were outscored 40 has been the story really through the years. 1993, Rockies initial season, they played Atlanta 13 times. Did not win a ball game, and the irony is that 2 years later, 95, they were playing them in the postseason.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I remember the big hit that who was the left-handed reliever they had. It was so good. Todd hit a home run off of him at the end of the year and threw him into a tailspin. John Rocker.
John Rocker.
Yeah, to be at 500 that year. Buddy Bill was the manager.
So here we go. Charlie Blackmon against Gavin Floyd. The first pitch is right there at 93 from Gavin Floyd. Game time temperature 85, so it's cooled off a little bit. And this ball in the air to left center field. B.J. Upton's there. He calls off his little brother, says, "Get out of the way, I got it." Take a look at the rest of the Braves defensively. They're brought to you by Excel Energy. Visit responsiblebynature.com today to learn more. Justin Upton, B.J. Upton, Jason Hayward. How cool is that? The Upton brothers next to each other. Andrelton Simmons is as good as it gets at shortstop along with Troy. Dan Uggla and Freddie Freeman on the right side. Gerald Laird has caught 4 straight ball games. And that's because Evan Gattis had a virus, but he's getting healthier. Kadire takes strike 1. And he swings through that at 94, and quickly it's 0-2. In his career, Kadire 12 for 36 against Gavin Floyd. Of course, Floyd with the White Sox for a long time, so they were in the same division.
He and Morneau with the most at bats. Morneau with 33, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs.
And this is going to be a base hit. Michael chops it up the third base line, and all Chris Johnson could do, he's playing deep naturally, is pick up the baseball and hand it to Gavin Floyd. So a 1-out single, and that'll bring up Tulowitzki.
Topped out in front of the home plate area with Kadyr's power, his ability to hit line drives. You're playing deep at third base. Johnson, no shot other than just feel the baseball and eat it, with Kadyr busting up the line.
Michael, an occasional base stealer, real smart base runner. He's got 3 bags this year. And Tulowitzki steps in. There's not been a better position player in the game than Troy this year.
No, there hasn't been. Defensively, I mean, a complete player. We talked about this a little bit in the last telecast, his ability offensively, defensively. I want to watch Floyd a little bit. I want to put a stopwatch on him. He's kind of got the American League path to home plate with a runner on base. He uses a high leg kick typically all the time.
This is in the air to right. Hayward's got room, and he'll make the catch. 2 outs. Two gone, and Justin Morneau will come to the plate. It's the 4th time this year Morneau is batting cleanup, and so far so good. He's 5 for 12 with a home run and 4 ribbies batting cleanup.
What advantage for the Rockies when you do have to rearrange your lineup with Cargo out, that you could have the ability to stick a guy like Morneau in the lineup, put him in that 4th spot in the lineup.
Well, everywhere we go, we hear the same thing from either scouts we run into or fellow broadcasters. Man, that lineup's deep. And tonight, talking to your old college teammate Joe Simpson, who's done the Braves for years and years, Joe was going over you know, the Blackmans, Kadyrs, Tulowitzki, Morneau, Arenado. There's no break. And I said, yeah, Cargo and Rosario aren't playing either. There's Joe. Center fielder at OU.
Boy, Joe could really go get it. Was a 3rd-round draft pick out of OU, if I'm not mistaken, with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Very speedy, left-handed hitting outfielder. Made it to the big leagues with the Dodgers. Went on to play with the Seattle Mariners. And then got in the broadcasting business.
And he blamed me for something before the game, and I didn't get it. He said, why'd you bring Frazier?
Exactly. He said, what's he making, a road trip?
Atlanta a year ago in 96 and 66, capturing another division title. They won it going away by 10 games over the Nationals, and they were dominant at home. They won 56 games at home. And Morneau hits it on a line, but right at Hayward. So the Rockies get an infield hit from Kadyr. That is all. And when we come back, we'll see Jordan Lyles with the baseball. Jordan Lyles' family here, extended family and friends. makes his home in the offseason in Columbia, South Carolina. Not all that far from Atlanta, about 3 hours away. Jordan on the mound. He's 5-1. He's been terrific in a Rockies uniform. He's had one hiccup. That was his last outing, George.
It was. That was the only one that's gotten after him at all, and he had those walks. That was more than really an aberration of what he does.
There's Jason Hayward. He'll lead it off for Freddie Gonzalez. Let's take a look at the rest of the lineup, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Hayward will be followed by B.J. Upton, who has really struggled since signing that big free agent deal from Tampa. Then Freddie Freeman, who's their best hitter. Justin Upton doing his thing in the middle of that lineup. Chris Johnson, Andrelton Simmons with some pop. Dan Ugla has a lot of pop. Gerald Laird and Gavin Floyd. So Hayward steps in. He's riding a 10-game hitting streak. And the first pitch from Jordan is outside, ball one. This is popped up and playable in foul ground.
And you're pitching in front of all of your family like this. That first out becomes very huge. 9 games he started this year for the Rockies, a 5-1 record. In 54 innings, 20 walks, 35 strikeouts. He's only given up 4 home runs. The one number that jumps out at you in the job Jordan Lyles has done, just the average is 231 against.
And those numbers brought to you by Inova Cancer Care, non-surgical treatment of prostate cancer. Visit InovaCC.com. B.J. Upton steps in, the older brother, and he hits one in the gap to left center field. Dickerson cuts it off. B.J.'s trying for 2, and the throw's not going to get it.
Now looking at where that ball had been hit into left center field, it had a hook to it in the outfield. Corey got to it in a hurry. The spin throw a little bit offline for Corey. You got a really good shot at getting Upton. Upton hit this ball, which has been far and few between for him since he signed a big contract with the Atlanta Braves. 200 average with just 10 RBIs, but a one-out double here early.
And now Freddie Freeman, who's a tremendous hitter, and when the Rockies show up, he turns into Superman. 22 career games against the Rockies. He has hit 10 home runs and driven in 25. An all-star a year ago, he had a monster season. He hit .319 with 23 home runs and 109. Tulo, boy, got a tough hop. Nice play by Troy. Good pickup at first. 2 gone as B.J. Upton will move to third. That thing hit off the mound and produced an in-between hop, and Troy fielded with no problem at all. Rockies Defenders brought to you by Excel Energy. Visit responsiblebynature.com today to learn more. Corey Dickerson for Cargo in left. Charlie Blackmon's in center. And Kadire is in right. Arenado and Tulowitzki airtight on that left side. Airtight on the right side as well with LeMahieu and Morneau. And Jordan Pacheco doing the catching. So 2 gone, and Justin Upton will step in.
Drew mentioned airtight. Morneau 3 errors. LeMahieu 1. Tulowitzki 0. And Arenado was 7. 4 of those coming early in the season. It has really tightened up in this infield. The outfield just has 2 errors right now, and that's Blackmon at center. It's been 3 weeks since he had one, so this defense playing great baseball.
Rockies very familiar with Justin Upton. So many years and good ones with the Arizona Diamondbacks. He's in his 2nd season here in Atlanta. He's been hot of late. He went 8 of 17 in the series against Milwaukee. 3 home runs. Here's the 1-0.
Well, one thing they have in common, other than being brothers and same mom and dad, they strike out a lot. BJ on the year leads the National League with 57 strikeouts. Little brother with 56 strikeouts.
The difference has been that when Justin puts it in play, it's normally a hit, and unfortunately for BJ, when he puts it in play, it has not been. 1-1. Good looking pitch and a strike from Kerwin Danley.
Yeah, you like the fact a little bit elevated and Upton upset with himself. I always laugh at hitters that slap their foot like that extremely hard.
I don't think he's upset with himself. I think he's upset with Kerwin Danley.
Right, but then he take a swing at your bat. Watch the end of this thing. Pacheco received that thing beautifully behind the plate. Watch, he's going to, well, I can't see it here, but he whacked himself in the ball of the foot.
Popped up right side. Morneau's not going to have a play. Well, I guess, you know, George probably, he's better off if he whacks himself on the bottom of the foot on the spikes than if he were to try to whack Kerwin Danley on the back of his foot.
Well, it wouldn't be good for him. He wouldn't get to play for quite a while. Maybe forever. At the infield, he's trying to think and look into a whiskey. We'll look and see what the sign is. He can cheat a little bit into the hole if it's a slider.
Swung on and missed. Jordan Lyles with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball punches out Justin Upton, and brother BJ left at third. We'll go to the second. Top of the second inning at Turner Field in Atlanta with George Frazier and Mark Stout. I'm Drew Goodman. Nolan Arenado will be first, and it's time for the big hit presented by Mako, the company that repairs all kinds of hits. And here's our big hit. Nolan Arenado, two-run double, nearly a home run off Sergio Romo. Rockies walk-off winners a couple of nights ago. They won that ball game 5-4. Cargo scores the winning run. Third time in Nolan's career he's produced a walk-off. Just his sophomore campaign. Check out your local Mako for collision repairs and auto painting for as low as $449. Visit Mako.com today. So Nolan steps in against Gavin Floyd, leading off the second inning. Corey Dickerson, Jordan Pacheco to follow. Rockies had an infield hit in the first from Michael Kadire.
A lot of fastballs early in the count in the first inning. Nolan looked for one, got one, and couldn't tee off on it. Close though.
Nolan was 2 for 2 in yesterday's game that was suspended. He leads all big league third basemen in extra base hits with 22. He's third in the big leagues among third basemen in ribbies with 28. He went, according to Lance Barksdale. Well, I mentioned half the umpire crew tonight. Might as well get everybody else mentioned. Kerwin Danley again behind the plate. Lance Barksdale's at first. Mark Ripperger is at second. And Gary Cedarstrom is at third. The 0-2 fastball's down low, 1-2. Got to be impressed with how Floyd has bounced back from Tommy John, in that the velocity has returned pretty quickly.
It has returned quickly. Where you'll look for is July and August. See where it is at that point. After Tommy John, a lot of times you have that spurt where it feels really good. then you have a little bit of decline.
This ball turned on deep left field, George, and it is off the very top of the wall. Upton's throw is not going to get Arenado. As quickly as Upton got to that baseball, I look back and Arenado was just rounding first, and Nolan was running hard, but it was a rocket off the left field wall. And you rarely see that. That would have been, unfortunately it was not, but it would have been 9-4-6 on the flip.
Look at how this ball ricocheted perfectly off.
7-4-6, I'm sorry.
Perfectly off of the wall. The throw was high, then the flip was here, and they want to know if Nolan came out. I think Freddie got the okay. He's going to check it because he thinks the toe came out. Maybe we get a better look at it right here. Uggla catches, he flips to Simmons, and then Simmons applies the tag. Nolan's safe there. This is the question in mind. Did his foot come off as he was still coming through right here? That's the question.
We can't tell from that angle. They're going to take a look at it. Hopefully Nolan didn't hurt that finger badly.
Can't have that happen. Man, oh man.
It's a natural for so many players in that situation, George, to go head first, but it's also dangerous.
Well, it's always very dangerous. Anytime you go head first, put your hands out there, you get stepped on, so many things get jammed against the bases.
This manager's challenge is brought to you by Subaru's EyeSight Driver Assist technology, a vigilant safety feature that gives peace of mind to every drive. Let's check a different angle.
But they're not talking about this part of the tag here. It's this part when they kept it on him, right there. He's saying he got a hold of him, and he's still applying the tag, and he's still looking.
Yeah, watch the left hand. Left hand's.
The left hand's in. That part's in. It's when he slid by the bag.
Yeah, but what you can't see is the hand. Crowd's reacting because they're showing. Ooh, that one. Can you roll that back, fellas, a few frames? And, well, I don't know.
I don't either. That's why the guys in New York can have fun making a decision with that one. I think it's just inconclusive. They're going to give him the back, personally. Well, it'll give you another couple of opportunities to look at this. Hand's there. Did the hand come off right here? No, hand's still on. But now the hand comes off and the foot comes back trying to get to it. See, and that's difficult for the positioning of where the umpire is. He's behind the bag on the infield side, so you have the body of Simmons blocking the tag to where he could see or not see.
Yeah, and here's something we should point out more frequently. Look at Mark Ripperger, George. You can't be in better position.
Hands off.
Is it off now? Does the toe get there before?
Did he tag him though?
Yeah, did he tag him? See, that's the thing. Right there, if there's a tag, he would be out because his foot's not on the bag. But I'm not so sure he tagged him. I think Simmons is trying to sell it like he did. And watch, it comes up.
Well, we're going to know here in a minute.
Safe. And George, I think you described it accurately. I don't think you could definitively tell.
No, you couldn't. And I think that's why it's ruled the way it was ruled.
So a leadoff double for Nolan Arenado.
Great hustle by Nolan. Glad the throw was offline too. The head first slide. Now you just hope the hand's okay.
You know what? You also appreciate Carlos Gonzalez, George, because he makes that throw so frequently, and it's like always right on the bag.
Yeah, most left fielders' weakest arm on the team. In the Rockies' instance, it's the strongest arm because of the space in the outfield. You want your arm strength and speed in left field, of course.
Dickerson gets a slider on the first pitch. It's 0-1.
And you will find out what his swing and miss, or what he thinks his swing and miss pitch is here. He'll go for the strikeout on Dickerson, the first to slider.
Corey's been very good out on the road, hitting .316.
He's been very good hitting everywhere.
Yeah, you're right.
343 overall, 5 home runs and 13 RBIs, and he spent a month in the Springs.
Corey, also a native of the Southeast. He's from Mississippi. Two-strike count. He went cutter, and it's down and in. 1-2. Dickerson trying to move Arenado to third. And as George pointed out, Floyd hunting a strikeout here.
Watch where Laird sets up. He goes to the outside corner, and they went a heater in the ground. Just jammed it in there. 92 miles an hour.
Did that swing and the line drive not look like the game winner from the other night? It was almost in the identical spot.
335 here in Atlanta down the left field line, as it is Coors Field a little bit farther in it. 347. $18 total pitches in the game for Gavin Floyd. Only 3 balls have been thrown out of the strike zone.
Dickerson turns and pulls that foul. Corey's got a quick bat. Hard to beat him with a fastball in the inner half.
Floyd tried to do is run a hard cutter in on his hands, and it stayed flat. Didn't have any depth to it. Corey got the head out in a hurry and hit that line drive to right field.
Heater away at 94. That's fouled off. Jordan Pacheco's in the on-deck circle. Who wants tacos? Remember, when the Rockies score 7 or more during any game, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 to get your Rockies tacos special. Live Moss at Taco Bell. Dickerson was in left field for Cargo yesterday. Went 1 for 3 before the ball game was suspended.
You wonder why a lot of good hitters, and Corey's a good hitter, how they fell off so many nasty pitches. You know, they say see ball, hit ball. Well, a lot of times you look at great hitters, their head never comes off the ball. They've tracked the baseball into the home plate area. They're going to miss some. For the majority of the time, they stay right on that pitch to the outside corner. And Corey's been able to fight off a couple of nasty fastballs away.
And now it's 3-2.
Worked it to a hitter's count.
Gavin Floyd, before the Tommy John surgery, one of the more durable guys in the American League. Made 31, 32, 33 starts a year. His best season in 08 when he went 17-8. And that's going to get the runner over, and it's going to be an infield hit. I was like trying to chase a mouse right there. Did you see that ball, the way it was spinning and moving away from Gavin Floyd?
An awful lot of English on this ball, hit off the bat of Corey Dickerson. Watch as it comes off out front. A hard sinker. I think he hit that ball right off of the ground. Let's see where it is. Yes, that ball bounced before he ever made contact with the baseball.
He did that last year.
Yeah, he did. Pretty good hand-eye coordination in it, and then it just spins about 4 directions. Now, it did help with Floyd. Momentum takes him to the first base side, so now you got first and third, nobody out, and a guy that's hitting .353 this year with runners in scoring position, and Jordan Pacheco.
Guys work on this every single day at batting practice to get him in situation. Less than 2 outs, runner at third.
Now look at the side swing of Corey Dickerson. We'll try to freeze it right out front. His legs stayed still. If he didn't get it right off the ground, he got the top of it as the bottom was hitting the ground.
I don't remember the city, George, but I remember it. The ball bounced and he had a base hit to right. This kicks away, and that is huge. Dickerson moves up, and no longer is a double play a possibility. A wild pitch on Floyd. Second and third, nobody out. And these are the situations, particularly on the road, the Rockies need to take advantage of, and even more so here in Atlanta against a team with an ERA leading baseball.
Watch this pitch from Floyd. Tried to backhand the baseball, missed it completely, hopped and hit him in the mask. Gerald Laird, known for his ability to block baseballs, catch and throw guy, not very good on catching it there. And the Rockies have a big advantage early in this ball game with second and third and nobody out.
This will get the job done deep in the hole. Simmons with a strong arm gets Pacheco, and the Rockies take a 1-0 lead.
8 RBIs now for Jordan Pacheco.
And they're different kind of get him in situations. When the infield's back, you can hit it on the ground in the middle of the infield, or obviously elevate the ball to the outfield. You know, with the infield back, George got it in play in the middle of the diamond and gets a ribby out of it. The Rockies on top 1-0. LeMahieu up with Jordan Lyles on deck. Simmons made that play look easy, George. I think you have the two best defensive shortstops in the game playing in this one tonight.
I would agree with you. Both very strong arm, great range, very accurate arms.
In fact, Dougie just handed me a note. The last 7 Gold Glove winners at shortstop will be on display over the next 6 games because the Rockies go from here to Philadelphia. Jimmy Rollins has won 3 in the last 7 years. Tulo won in 2010, 2011. Rollins won in 2012, and Andrelton Simmons won last year. And LeMahieu strikes out swinging, and that'll bring up Lyles with 2 outs.
And Lyles can really swing the bat. A home run, 3 RBIs. An average at 217 now, but it was much higher than that previous to the last couple of starts. So it's not a guy you go to sleep on. And the Rockies already with 1 on the board. Giles 4th in the National League, or baseball I should say, with run support. The Rockies are averaging 8 runs when he's on the mound.
You said it a little while ago. Gavin Floyd's absolutely pounding the strike zone. 30 pitches, 25 strikes.
Now it becomes, are they quality strikes? He's gotten away with a couple that were, and he hasn't gotten away with a couple of others. Arenado crushed one. It was not a quality strike.
Good bluff by Simmons at second. He got Dickerson all the way back to the bag.
What made it work better was he got back to his position. You know, that's the thing about it. Normally you say you're second base. Your coach has this shortstop. You've got second, look back before. And then that time when Simmons made the move, and once he saw Dickerson scoot back, that's when he hustled back to his position.
2-1 on Lyles, and he bounces one to Dan Uggla. Rockies get a run in the inning. Nolan Arenado scores after leading the inning off with a double. 1-0 Colorado.
Growing up, I was a football, basketball, and baseball guy. I didn't really focus just completely on baseball, so I didn't say, hey, I want to be this pitcher. From being from South Carolina, I was a big Braves fan. Chipper Jones was everyone's idol back then. Number 10 he wore, everybody wanted to wear number 10.
Jordan Lyles talking about being a three-sport athlete growing up, and he was a big star in football also. Caught more than 80 passes his senior year of high school. And I guess Arenado, Georgia News, is at least initially is not great in that he had to come out of the ball game. Charlie Culberson's in at third base. He kept looking at that finger. He stayed in the ball game and eventually would score after doubling. He had that head-first slide. So I hope.
Boy, he can't miss that.
Yeah.
I mean, I really hope it got jammed and it gets iced down and get swelling out of it and make it feel a lot better, hopefully.
I mean, he was moving it around. At one point, he was showing it to Andrelton Simmons and then EY. Chris Johnson quickly behind 0-2. And there's the head-first slide. Arenado's missed one inning of baseball this year. It looked from that angle, George, that he was looking at that index finger on the right hand.
We'll just have to wait and see what happens from downstairs when we get word and relay it to the fans at home.
The Braves third baseman Chris Johnson fouls that pitch off. It's 1-2. Chris Johnson, a .367 career hitter against the Rockies. Last year he had the best season of his career. Remember, he was in that battle late in the campaign for a batting title with Michael Kadire. Michael ended up winning it by 10 points, 331 to Chris Johnson's 321. Freddie Freeman, by the way, was third.
Almost got him to bite. Pacheco, you watch a little bit there. It's set straight up for the fastball, but you should give a high sign with your glove. So you're trying to get it in a little bit and above the hands to get him to bite on it, swing through it, and he almost did. When you're a sinker ball pitcher, you can get by with an average fastball up a lot because it's up above the hands.
Count now 3-2. And he got him on a slider out of the zone. Good pitch. 2 strikeouts now for Jordan Lyles.
What really makes that pay off, Justin Upton got a fastball and he threw it by him to end the bottom of the first inning. This is a big sweeping slider. But Johnson, thinking that pitch is going to be on the outside corner fastball, so he committed so early, couldn't hold things up.
So here's the shortstop, Andrelton Simmons. He had 17 home runs last year. Surprise you.
Well, he's got some power. He does have that. You know, a lot of times hitters, when they go to the home plate area, they'll always check with the hitter. They kind of look up at just to see where their eyesight is, or particularly that first at bat, because you're digging your feet around, you're looking down. You want to give the sign too early because it's obviously an easy way to pick it up.
So Pacheco and Lyles conclude their meeting. It's a 1-1 count with 1 out on Andrelton Simmons. Simmons was a second-round pick in the 2010 draft. He's a native of Curacao.
Western Oklahoma Community College, 97 on the mound.
2 outs. And that'll bring up Dan Uggla.
Looking at this first inning and 2/3 innings, a couple of strikeouts, a couple of ground ball outs, and that's what Jordan Lyles is. Ground ball outs down in the bottom half of the strike zone with quality strikes.
Well, this has been a rarity, George. Dan Uggla starting in back-to-back games. It's been Tyler Pasternicky at second most of the time.
Well, they say they're going to try to showcase, but how do you showcase a guy that's had failure for 3 years and a pretty big number still owed on the contract for next year?
A very difficult year for Uggla last season. He slipped to 179. He still hits it out of the ballpark. You cannot make a mistake there. He hit 22 home runs last year.
Left off of the playoff roster last year. So it was a very, very disappointing year. And some people felt like the Braves faltered in the playoffs because of Uggla not being on the roster. That it disrupted the clubhouse chemistry so much because he has such a close-knit amount of friends on that team. And decisions made by Freddie and the brass to leave him off of the roster, it felt like that may have played somewhat of a role in their demise in the playoffs.
That misses 3-1.
Where was that? Was that a ball low? Boy, it looked like a good pitch from Lyles. From up here, it looked like it stayed right in the middle of the plate. Had to be low out of the zone. No, it wasn't either. Caught the bottom half of the strike zone.
3-1, and that ball's turned and slammed foul.
And that's what he can do. Drew mentioned just a minute ago, he got a fastball on the inner half of the plate. You know, when his average dipped as much as it has, he goes to the plate not thinking about average, not thinking about a line drive to right. He's just trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark as much as he can.
He's hit 233 home runs in his career, 5 times 30 or more. And he walks here with 2 outs. That'll bring up Gerald Laird.
Beautiful, beautiful downtown Atlanta.
That's a perfect night.
Big average, big numbers against the Rockies in his career. +400 average, 5 RBIs, has not hit a home run. All that damage mostly in a Detroit uniform.
Ball and a strike now on Gerald Laird. It's the 9th game of his career against the Rockies. He's 12 for 25 though against Colorado pitching. Morneau holding on Dan Uggla. He of the Popeye forearms. George, you didn't pitch in this park. It wasn't built yet, but County Stadium on the other side of the parking lot. Good place to pitch.
The launching pad, if you were a high ball guy, wasn't much fun. But if you could sink it a little bit, keep it on the ground. The problem was the infield was so hard. It was owned by the city. So the city crews took care of the field. It didn't get drug a lot. It didn't get turned over a lot on the infield dirt. It was pretty hard to play there. It's one of my fondest memories. First trip to Atlanta to see Hank Aaron still in uniform, although not playing. Standing behind the cage. Took me an hour to get the nerve to ask for an autograph on a ball.
Old County Stadium.
Well, they got another new one on the way. Amazing.
2017. They'll play in Cobb County. 2-2, and that's inside to another full count. Uggla will get a head start here. 3-2 with 2 outs. Gerald Laird at the plate. Rockies have the only run. Nolan Arenado scored it, but he hurt his finger sliding into second on a double, and he's now out of the ball game. And that is toward left center field. It has a chance to tie up the game, and it will.
Well, it's closer than what you thought. And I liked what Troy did there. Troy went out because he has the arm strength to do it. The opposition 10 for 42 with 2 outs now against Jordan Lyles with a runner in scoring position, but he looked at this pitch and where it was thrown on a 3-2 count. You got major league guys, and even though he struggled this year with just 1 RBI, too much of the plate given out, cheating on the fastball an awful lot. He goes out and extends and gets after this ball in left center. Watch the relay throw here. Charlie hit perfectly for Tulowitzki. The arm strength is there. And Drew, when he's about halfway around third, you think this could be score easy. Ended up being a pretty close play because of the arm of Troy Tulowitzki.
So a 2-out double by Laird ties it at 1 as we go to the top of the 3rd at Turner Field in Atlanta.
One 1-1 ball game as we go to the 3rd. It is a Fan Friday. We want you to use the hashtag Toyota Talk and tweet us your questions, and we'll start with one. And George, you can comment on this. It's about the batting order that we actually saw on the scoreboard here, where down the line everybody Pacheco is hitting 300, and then you even have a good hitting pitcher with Lyles. And Drew, you mentioned it earlier. There's no Cargo, no Rosario. Is that as good as a lineup as you've seen, maybe since you were pitching? I was talking to Bo McLaughlin today, and he was talking about the Big Red Machine back in the 70s, where you just had so much depth.
Well, it was a different kind of game because it was all on turf. I mean, not only you had the Big Red Machine, you had it in Pittsburgh, you had the big bats, you had the speed, you had all kinds of things there. St. Louis was built on speed, had really good lineups, but I'm going to tell you, this lineup, what's impressive about me is 6 guys with 25 or more runs scored, 6 guys with 25 or more RBIs. That's big numbers. And then you start to look at the home runs, and you know, you always look at completion. I do, and I look at the complete side of a ball club. This is a complete ball club, Mark, because what they do defensively and how they throw the ball on the mound. That, to me, is the biggest thing and biggest key about it.
And here's something else you can't forget. Cargo can't go tonight. We know that. Corey Dickerson steps in. He's hitting 343 at the start of the night. They have pieces, Drew Stubbs, Brandon Barnes.
No, they got a lot of pieces, yeah.
They're starters for most clubs.
Well, and again, people may not understand what I say when I say this, but what I am saying is kind of a simple deal here. We got a new third baseman here with the Atlanta Braves
third
now,
basemen
right?
are dropping like flies.
Yeah, what's going
Chris
on
Johnson, and we don't know why, had to leave. Ramiro Pena's now in. Charlie Blackmon will take a strike, leading things off in the third. He had a fly ball to center field, beginning the ball game. So Ramiro Pena for Chris Johnson. Lefties this year hitting 351 against Gavin Floyd. Righties just 194.
Well, that's a big sweeping slider right there.
Here's the 1-2.
Well, watching Laird throw the ball back, and again, he's thrown out 4 out of 7 would-be base stealers. But every throw back to the mound has a hitch in it. And when you see a guy lock his hand and flip it, he may have the yips thrown back to the mound. Obviously, with the numbers, not necessarily to second.
Blackmon gone, and that's the second strikeout for Gavin Floyd. Tweet us your Rockies fan photos. Do it right now. Use the hashtag COFanPhoto. An opportunity to have it shown during an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Michael Kadire on an 0-2 pitch. A little squibber to the left side. And the third baseman at the time, Chris Johnson, was so deep he didn't have a play, just picked it up and flipped it to the pitcher. Since coming off the shelf, Michael Kadire kind of picking up where he left off, George. 6 for 13.
Very much so, even though the RBIs haven't really jumped out at you, but they will. It's just a matter of guys getting on base in front. Oh,
how about this one? There's a fly to deep left field. It's got a chance.
Wow.
And it dies at the 380 mark.
Third time. You think of the 2-line drives he hit to right field and Coors Field the other day. Remember those up against the wall and right, and then this one at 380. Heavy air Atlanta kept that from getting out of the yard. I thought that was gone.
Off the bat, I thought it was without question gone.
That's 4 hard hit line drives. You think about Blackmon in the first, Tulowitzki, Morneau, and then now this one by Kadire. A lot of guys in this outfield for the Braves spending time with their backs to the wall.
Troy hit a fly ball to Hayward in right his first time. He gets a slider. Who's Hot's brought to you by Weber Serious Grills for unserious times. Well, Troy on the road after a slow start has been hot. Last 10 games, hitting .333 with 4 home runs away from Coors Field.
Oh, wait, another great hitter at Coors Field dispelling all the myth about how they can hit on the road? No, couldn't be. Not another one.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. That still cracks me up every time I read it.
How about this? The only National League park that Troy has never hit a home run in? Turner Field.
Well, it's about time to figure all that out and change it tonight. How about that?
Two balls and a strike. Well, a lot of guys don't have a real boastful average at Turner Field. Something to do with the pitching that generally resides here. Everybody predicted the demise of the Braves late in spring training when Medlin went down, who won 14 games or 15 games last year. Beachy went down. Minor has come back, but he was down initially. And they still lead baseball in ERA. And it's not just the starting pitching. The bullpen's great. And all those division titles. They've won the last 2 in the NL East. 3 of the last 4. They were supposed to finish behind Washington. And Freeman had it pop right back into his glove. 1-2-3 inning in the third for Floyd. We're tied at 1. The bottom of the third inning, Jordan Lyles will see the top of the lineup for Atlanta. So many ties to this region as we were talking about. We go Google Earth on you. Rex Brothers from Murfreesboro, Tennessee, about 3.5 hours away. Jordan Lyles from Florence, South Carolina. Corey Dickerson, Macomb, Mississippi. And then the local guys. Charlie Culberson from a few minutes away in Rome. And Charlie's from Warwick, Georgia. Both Charlies last night. We got off the bus at 4:35 in the morning, or whatever time. Does it really matter anymore at that hour?
Sun wasn't up, so I know it wasn't that early.
Both of those guys were able to go home, spend the night in their own bed. Here's Hayward, 1-0 pitch outside, 2-0. Jason fouled out to third his first time. Remember, he got hit in the face, and that's why he wears that extension on his helmet. Thought that may be at the top of the strike zone. Kerwin Danley said nope, and it's 3-0.
But down to Rome, Georgia, it's a neat place. The Asheville Tourists play in that league, and that against them in the Sally League. Very nice ballpark on the outskirts of town in Rome.
That has a couple of affiliates.
Well, they own Gwinnett, and they own, I think they own their AA and their low A and high. I think they own all 4 teams now. And what they do is they'll take like a very young groundskeeper out of this stadium and move him to Rome and have him work 3 or 4 years there, go to AA, AAA, and try to rotate guys in, teach them how to take care of their own field, be their own bosses. Great training ground. Hey, make sure to visit the rooftop at Coors Field. Arrive early for pregame festivities and beer specials before the first pitch. The rooftop is the place to be during the baseball season. 303 Rockies or Rockies.com/rooftop to get your tickets.
3-2 on Hayward, and that ball rifled to right for a single. That'll bring up B.J. Upton. Braves have had a habit through the years of acquiring brother tandems. They had J.D. and Tim Drew in 2004. They had the Mailer brothers in '79, Rick and Mickey. And then, of course, Phil and Joe Negro pitched here, George, in '73 and '74. And though Hank overshadowed him, Tommy Aaron was a heck of a player. They played together for a decade.
Hayward's starting to run a little more this year. He's healthier this year. Last year, just 8 stolen bases. Already got a couple this year.
He's got an 11-game hitting streak after that single. His career best is 12. Joe and Frank Torrey in 1960 were Braves together. High fly ball down the right field line. Kadire, long run. LeMahieu hoping to get there, and he made a great attempt. Had to bail out as he was running full tilt, and the tarp was in front of him.
Thing about it, when you're a second baseman running on an angle like this, knowing the tarp is there, also understanding that you're dealing with a billboard down the left field line, you want to try to, that'll be a new pair of pants. As you go down, the only way to stop yourself, and this is gravel along there, slide. It's the only option you have, because if you try to go full force, and you can see right here at the very end of their tarp, see that cover he went into, it's kind of a section deal. That covers the ends of the tarp, so that sharp edge on the 10 round cylinder that holds the tarp doesn't cut you as a player.
One and two. I've said it before. In this day and age, I'm shocked that they haven't come up with something there that the tarp goes underneath the ground and then.
Well, they did have one in St. Louis until Coleman got his foot caught in it. We were probably in high school.
No, I remember when.
But they
that
had. We had
that
one.
was been when it was being rolled out or something.
Well,
wasn't it?
well, he was messing around. He got his foot, and what happened was it would pop up like out of an elevator shaft, and then automatically a guy would just take a button and roll it out, and it would cover, and then you'd roll it back in, and it'd go back down in the ground again. Great innovation, except Vince Coleman couldn't keep his foot out of it.
Two and two.
See, I like that by Morneau. Notice how he caught the ball, and a lot of base runners do this. They'll step with the right, put the left on, and take the right off. And sometimes you keep the tag on him. You can catch a guy, switching the legs, and you get him out.
Not going. Ground ball deep short. Tulowitzki will get the force and almost a double play. You know what? I think DJ, after he caught that, was shocked that he had a play on BJ still.
Well, either that or just couldn't get a shift out of the glove.
Hey, one of the
to
other,
get a grip on the baseball to where he could make the throw over, because it was pretty close anyway. Yeah, he's got a strong arm. Normally a shortstop, that's what helps him turn a lot of these difficult double plays like this one. Went to the backside and then a snap throw over to first. You're concentrating. You're going to see here, he just barely beat this thing out. Yeah, Jordan Lyles trying to bend this one in. Give me that double play. But you know, a lot of times as a second baseman, you got to focus, because Tulowitzki's airborne when throwing the baseball, and you're on the backside of the bag. Your first instinct, you got to catch that ball from Tulowitzki, and because of where he is,
it's going to die in front of the center fielder Blackman.
Off the end of the bat of Freeman. You just don't know when that runner's going to get in on you. That's the big thing.
Two on for Upton with one out. Upton struck out with a runner at third in the first inning. Mashed the ball at home, not so much on the road. He's hitting .386 at home, .195 out on the road. First month as a Brave last year, he was the player of the month in April. A good April this year. And this kicks away, and everybody's going to move up. And that's a really bad break, because with Justin Upton, you can get him to hit into a double play.
He does a lot of that too. Upton, Justin on the season. So far, Upton has hit into 3 double plays and second on the ball club. And a hard slider that he slid out to try to get to it. It hit off the heel of the glove, buried a little bit far outside by Jordan. And the base runners alertly, as soon as they saw the ball start to squirt away, they took off.
Tied at 1 in the bottom of the third.
The full counts have kind of bothered Jordan tonight in this ball game. Out of the 4 full counts so far, a walk, a base hit, and a couple of RBIs, a single, and a strikeout.
Upton will be 27 later on this summer. One. Tonight's Cool Stat is brought to you by Steel T. Never a trip charge with a repair. That's a $69 value. Go to SteelT.com. Steel T. The T stands for trust. Home runs in their own ballpark this year. Justin Upton has hit 9 of his 12 here at Turner Field. Tulo's hit 8 of his 13 at Coors Field. Charlie Blackmon 7 of his 9. This is where you want to get that punch out now that the double play is not an option.
We'll chase the
conventional one.
Yeah, we'll chase the breaking ball off the plate. The area that we've seen so much success from, that inner half up. Here comes the infield.
Well, he went out there with the slider and missed. 2-2. Here's the Tony La Russa, I think, effect on Walt Weiss. Those two very close. Now that relationship may change a little bit now that Tony's running things in Arizona.
Well, you can still be their friend, just not for 4 hours that night when you're in town.
Where's that? Where's that? You know, I think because Jordan set up outside and the pitch came back, that was right down the middle. Look at the 4 strike zone.
Yeah,
how do you miss that?
Yeah, I mean,
just because it's reached back a little bit. Look at this pitch.
Doesn't matter. It's right in the middle of the plate. How do you miss that?
Wow.
Come on, Kerwin. You got to have a strikeout here. You got to give it to him. Make a pitch like that. You see, too, Upton was headed to the dugout. He walked across home plate. I like this a lot. When a pitcher catcher, I want to make sure you're right on the right page here when you make this pitch. This could be a huge part of the game. Tied 1-1. One out, second and third.
I wonder what that conversation is. Boy, that pitch looked pretty good. Yeah, it was right down the middle. I missed it.
Yeah, I'd suggest you swing the next time, because you will be walking to the dugout.
Infield coming in, 3-2 on the ground, too low, got it, no play. He'll have to go to first. BJ too fast. And when you think about little plays, and listen, umpires are human too. Nobody hits 1,000 or fields 1,000. It's hard to bat 1,000 as a home plate umpire, but that was flat missed by Kerwin Danley, and it's going to cost the Rockies here.
It does cost the Rockies. Tulo moving inward, able to go over and get to a ball hit softly, which was good. If that ball's hit a little bit harder, it could have got into the outfield. 2-run score. Instead, they're able to handle this, and only 1 run comes across.
Braves up 2-1, and Ramiro Pena, switch hitting infielder, up for the first time. He came in for Chris Johnson. We haven't gotten word as to why Johnson left. We know the reason, basically, why Arenado had to leave. We haven't got any sort of official report, but he did something to his finger when he was sliding into second on a double in the second inning. You know, with runners in scoring position and nobody out or 1 out, the league this year against Jordan Lyles is now 0 for 21. And of course, that out did produce a run. This is a fly ball to right center field. Blackman makes the catch. That puts down the inning, but the Braves take a 2-1 lead. Jenny, thanks very much. Here's the NL West beginning play this evening. The Giants at 29-18, 3 up on the Rockies. And then the Dodgers 4.5 back. Padres and the Diamondbacks at 18-31. Rockies trail 2-1. Drew Goodman, George Frazier, Mark Stout at Turner Field tonight. And in the fourth inning, Justin Morneau, Charlie Culberson, and Corey Dickerson. Gavin Floyd is allowed a run on 3 hits. 2 of the hits have been infield hits. Arenado had the double off the top of the left field wall. But he's now out of the ball game with a finger injury. Carlos Gonzalez sitting another ball game out with a finger injury. They hope to have Cargo back tomorrow. 1-2. Morneau owns 3 home runs lifetime against Gavin Floyd. Job covering the outside part of the plate by Justin. It remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rockies are 10-8 in May, and this trip will take them through the end of May. Had a strong April. Walt Weiss knows about the Braves way, and that's consistency. Even month to month, I looked this up last year, or today on last year's Braves team, George. Every month of the season, save September, they were above 500. Freddie Gonzalez's club had a huge August. They won 20 games in August, and then they went 13 and 14 in September. That was their only month under 500. And a little comebacker. You keep throwing out 15, 16 win months, you get to a place you want to be at the end of the year. Wells Fargo customers, get your 2-for-1 Rockies club level tickets today by going to wellsfargo.com/Rockies. Wells Fargo Bank, member FDIC. So Charlie Culberson out of Rome, Georgia. He'll bat here. He had to come into the ball game again for Nolan Arenado an inning ago.
Well, you get a little more consistent at bats, you get consistent results. Charlie's never faced Gavin Floyd, wouldn't expect him to. Floyd was there all part of this John Garland rotation that was in Chicago when they won world championships, had success. Boone Logan in the bullpen.
Got an old-fashioned delivery, hands above the head.
Well, a lot of guys went away from that. Just get the hand out of the glove quicker. Don't let it ride with the delivery. All about timing. Very fundamentally sound type delivery.
2-1, or 1-2 after the swing and miss. Well, for years, the Braves had top-end talent on the mound. Leo Mazzoni got a lot of credit. His work as the pitching coach. They say Roger McDowell is just fantastic. Strike 3. Let's check in with Mark Stab. Mark?
Guys, it is Fan Friday. Hashtag Toyota Talk, and you can tweet us at @RootSports_RM. Ron Jennings tweeted, is Corey Dickerson a scratch golfer because of the hit that he had earlier in the game today that he went down and got? You remember you were talking about the one that he did last year. That was on September the 13th in Arizona. You see what he did earlier tonight. Hard to do.
Yeah, pretty good.
That ball you were talking about last year, that was a double.
He had 3 hits in that game, remember. We were having fun with him afterwards. So. @RootSports_RM, we'll be checking your tweets here tonight.
Dickerson takes a strike. 8 in a row now set down by Gavin Floyd since Corey had the base hit off the dirt. The worm burner.
Huge crowd of scouts in here in Atlanta to watch both of these ball clubs. A couple of advanced scouts. But most of the guys doing their work. Eddie Lynch, the former general manager of the Chicago Cubs, now works for Toronto. Dave Yoakum with the White Sox is in town. Radar guns up, pencils and pads going with the stopwatches. There's Eddie right in the middle with the glasses on the end of the nose.
Good pitcher.
Yeah, he was. Played with him at the Boulder Collegians, and then on with Chicago later on.
Any big leaguers off Baldy Moschetti's team?
Been a few. I mean, tough to go back and count all of them. I mean, it'd be unbelievable.
Well, I'm
pretty good manager. Pretty good manager. And Joe Madden was my catcher. Guy named Clay Westlake, 4-time All-American, #1 draft pick 2 different times. Did not make it to the big leagues. Bobby Pate out of Arizona State was a guy who made it AAA. Really good player. Right fielder.
You mentioned Joe Madden, who's had great success managing Tampa. Do you know Madden and Freddie Gonzalez, 2 of the 5 managers in the big leagues that didn't play in the big leagues? They had minor league careers.
They're very good students of the game and listening to what their mentors would tell them as far as relationships with players.
Two and 2 on Dickerson. Mark read that question from one of the fans about Dickerson being a scratch golfer. I doubt it, because Corey's a gym rat in the baseball, the dirtbag. I mean, he eats, breathes, drinks, sleeps baseball and working on his game. This is going to be another infield hit. So Dickerson's 2 for 2. And that will allow Pacheco to hit here in the 4th inning. And it ends a string again of 8 set down in a row by Gavin Floyd.
That ball hit right back up the middle at Floyd. It's hit fairly well, though. That one hopper, and then you just misread it as a pitcher. It gets on you much quicker when you're about 50 feet away from home plate. Hit off the heel of the glove, chased it down, and all you can do is take a bite out of it. Dickerson with the speeds there easy.
Pacheco drove in the Rockies' run with the ground ball to short in the 2nd inning. And that ball's in the air to shallow right, but plenty of time for Hayward to get there. Middle of 4th, the Braves leading the Rockies 2-1 in Atlanta. Colorado Rockies baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Ford Escape. Smart, safe, and fun to drive. Ford Escape, go further. By Inova Cancer Care, advanced prostate cancer treatment. Visit InovaCC.com. And by Southwest Airlines, find our fares online only at Southwest.com. Braves leading 2-1. Jordan Lyles and Gavin Floyd. And in the bottom of the fourth inning for the Braves, it'll be Angelton Simmons, Dan Uggla, Gerald Laird.
Pretty ballpark.
Go.
It's surprising they're tearing this thing down, Doug. I mean, Doug and I talked about this a little early. Drew and I talked about it on the way in.
A stadium that was built for the '96 summer games. I mean, they knew they were going to house the Braves once the games were done, but this is where the opening and closing ceremonies were. I mean, it's like taking a brand new car and after 8 months saying, you know what, I'm going to bring it down to make scrap metal out of it. But they say out in Cobb County is where a great number of their fans reside, and makes it easier for them to get to the ballpark, because one of the criticisms, and we've partaken in it in years past, George, is that the Braves will have a great team, and even in the playoffs they don't draw. I mean, there's a nice crowd tonight. It's a holiday weekend. It's Friday night.
Yeah, but if you're at Coors Field on a Friday night on a holiday weekend, it's packed. There's 50,000 people there.
It's packed.
That's exactly right. I mean, you're drawing people because of the environment of where you are and what it is to come to the ballpark. The Rockies draw people to come watch play baseball. It's an event, and you come down here to Atlanta, and even when they won, 14 straight East divisions, and then they were in the World Series in '95. Still didn't draw people.
No, and they think that will solve part of the problem. I mean, listen, it's a big city and traffic's tough. What did it take us from Buckhead, for those familiar with Atlanta?
I took a nap. I don't know.
Well, you were talking still, because we had a long conversation, but it took us an hour and 5 minutes. This is slowly hit. Culberson trying to get it, and he does. Nice play by Charlie. And he throws out Simmons.
We get to the ballpark early, Sunday, June 8th. It's the first 15,000 we'll receive. And this is cool, the Sasquatch bobblehead. Gnome. Do you ever hunt Sasquatch, Drew? Probably not.
Well, once the season's over, I can't this time of year.
Courtesy of Jack Link's Beef Jerky. You're right. Arrive early. Gates will open 2 hours prior to the game. They actually have a show that talks about that. It's reality television. Seriously.
What's the name of it?
Sasquatch.
Record it for me. Dan Uggla.
Dougie, have you watched it? See, he watched it.
You know what? You've been hanging out with Frazier too much. Oh, my. Uggla takes a strike.
Finding Sasquatch. Isn't that what it is? Finding Bigfoot. That's what it is.
Something tells me there's no final episode to that show, Finding Bigfoot.
There hasn't been, but there's been a lot of sightings.
This is popped up and not playable for Pacheco.
So you guys start watching Discovery Channel, History Channel, A&E. That's where all the reality stuff is. Animal Planet, all those.
Animal Planet's good. I've seen Animal Planet.
Well, then you would have seen Finding Bigfoot.
I haven't seen
River Monsters. That's another good one.
I saw. Is that the one where they hunt anacondas sometimes?
No, that's the one guy by himself. Yeah, never mind. Over with reality TV and back to baseball.
2 strikes on Dan Uggla. Look out. Set up away, and did he go on the slider? Yes, he did. Uggla's gone. Lance Barksdale says he went around, so Dan Uggla is the second out of the 4th inning.
Well, the best part about it, you get a disagreement, and I wouldn't disagree with Barksdale. He is out down the first base line. When you go out to play second, you can visit with him. Uggla has done it enough in the last couple of years. He didn't disagree and headed to the dugout.
Gerald Laird had a 2-out double with Uggla going after walking. He was going, it was a 3-2 count. And would score. Uggla would score on the double by Gerald Laird. Second RBI this year for Laird. And he's catching over the last few days because of an illness. It's taken a while for Evan Gattis to get through. They think he's over the worst of it. In fact, Gattis in between innings has been coming out and catching until Laird gets his equipment on. So
yeah, that's
pretty good indication.
He's close.
Yeah,
I mean, he's very close, and they missed the power. Doug just handed me a note. Baseball is a reality TV show on every pitch. I would agree.
That's sports, the last true reality show. Good strong inning for Jordan Lyles as he gets Laird to hit a fly ball to Charlie Blackmon. We'll go to the 5th inning. The Braves up 2-1.
You want it's a Fan Friday. Use the hashtag Toyota Talk at @rootsports_RM. It's a tight fit here, by the way, in the first base camera well by the Rockies dugout. Hey, Ty sent us. It's kind of an interesting tweet, and he wants to know if the ball cap is a mandatory part of a big league uniform. And George and Drew know this. When you go into the clubhouse, there is actually a caricature of a player, and it tells you how you're supposed to wear your uniform. They do that in the NFL as well. George, do you know the restrictions on glove colors and shoelace colors? And I know there's trinkets. You can't really wear anything, right? Especially when you're pitching.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's exactly right. You're wearing the different things, but
you have to wear, from a uniform standpoint. For instance, a pitcher can't go out there, George, and have.
No, you've got to be covered up. Yeah, you can't. The other thing. Listen to this. 1985, Valenzuela's throwing really well against us in Wrigley Field. And he'd got some new shoes to pitch in, and the tongues were white, and they were long. They came all the way out to the end of the toe. And so I went down in the inning, in between innings with Jim Fry, and I said, because he had a high leg kick, and he kind of swung it at you. And I said, you got to make him change shoes, because you can see the white coming and the ball's coming and everything. They made him change shoes. So it's not only the arm, as far as wristbands, that kind of thing. But you know what a lot of guys do now? I don't understand it.
This is a sharply hit ball. Simmons may still have a play. He does. Wow. That went off Ramiro Pena right to Andrelton Simmons. And he fired a strike to get DJ LeMahieu.
Yes, he did throw a strike. A very strong arm. Probably second to Tulowitzki's in the game of baseball right now. It's shortstop position. I mean, that's a rocket hit by DJ. Just happened to flip right to Simmons, and he made the throw over to first. A lot of guys shave their arms now, to reduce the sweat. They really do. It's crazy, but they do. And then, so that's why you see a lot of guys without the sleeves. I never liked pitching with sleeves on, unless it's really cold.
A lot of guys, I've heard a lot of pitchers say that. Even
restrained. I just felt restrained. I don't know why. It wasn't a restraint. I mean, at the featherweight, particularly today with all the dry fit stuff.
It may have been LaTroy also. A lot of the pitchers that I visited with, like the vest. You know, the Rockies will wear the the black vest like they have on today. And
well, the thing about it, most of the uniforms are built of a little heavier material at the big league level to wear and tear. I mean, you're playing 162 games and you wear them an awful lot. And a lot of times you just don't like the weight on you. But without the vest like they're wearing tonight, the black vest, not only are they cool looking, but they also are pretty easy and free with your hands. Who was it, Dougie? What year with the White Sox? Was it 86, 87 they wore shorts? 76 they wore the shorts with the high socks and talk about strawberries on your knees.
bad look, bad idea.
Oh boy. Well, Beck had a few things going on there. I think that's the same place they had disco night, and it didn't turn out so well.
Disco night was between games of a doubleheader, and it became a one-game affair. The field was so damaged they didn't have the second game.
Forfeited the ball game. The White Sox did. They had to. But his son is the one that has the St. Paul Saints, and he has the pig that brings the balls out. And, I mean, they've got haircuts down the right field line. You get a massage. You get all kinds of things going on during the game.
One strike on Blackman. One of the neat things, and we don't get to do it. You played in a lot of minor league ballparks, but if you ever get a chance, you want a slice of Americana, drive it, pick some spots, drive across America, catch an 8-ball game in the Midwest League.
Drive 55 miles south of Denver and go down and watch the Springs. Watch that minor league down there, the AAA affiliate of the Rockies.
You'll see great baseball, but you'll also see some different promotions that you wouldn't see in a big league park.
Yeah, my favorites, those great big guys that they blow up and they bounce off each other.
Yeah, the sumo wrestling.
Yeah, that one's kind of fun. Spin of the bat, try to run down the foul line and pick up a pizza box. That's another good one.
2-2.
They do one in Tulsa now where they fill up these balloons with powder. They blow up the balloon, they put powder in there, a lot of powder. And then whoever can bust the balloon first, like you really want to, that cracks me up.
And Blackman looks at strike 3. Second time Charlie has struck out in the ball game. 1-2-3, 5th inning for Gavin Floyd. Here's tonight's First Bank game recap. Paying for checking's a thing of the past. Get First Bank free checking at efirstbank.com. Rockies trailing 2-1. Nolan Arenado doubled. He would score the Rockies' only run, but he had to leave the game because when he dove into second on a close play, he injured a finger. We still have not gotten an update yet from the Rockies clubhouse. Chris Johnson had to leave the game after the second inning as well. It Braves third baseman, we don't know why he had to depart. Jason Hayward, who will bat second this inning, had a base hit, and he extended his hitting streak to 11 games. Tight affair as so many are here in Atlanta. The Rockies looking to try to get something going offensively in that their last 3 road games, George, they've scored 2 runs or less in each, and they're stuck on 1 right now as Lyles goes to work against Gavin Floyd. Fastball for a strike.
Yeah, and you look up now and you're thinking Jordan, couple of big base hits, and you're thinking the score, but it's just 2-1 ball game. He's kept you right where you want to as you enter the 5th here with the starting pitcher Gavin Floyd leading off the 5th. Ahead in the count, 0-2.
Little things in a tight ball game. You know, we focused a little bit on Danley missing the strike 3 on Justin Upton, but prior to that there was the wild pitch. He was first and second. That is foul. He was first and second, George, with 1 out. And the first delivery to Upton was a slider that was in the dirt. And with that wild pitch, runners moved to second and third. No longer a double play possibility. And Justin Upton was able to drive in a run on a ground ball.
That's the little bitty things of the game you look at. Big swing and miss on the slider there. Go ahead and get to you out and get the strikeout.
4 strikeouts for Lyles. You know, the focus always in baseball, especially from the Rockies' perspective, they have to out-hit them, they have to out-slug them, out-score them. Well, sometimes you have to out-pitch them.
Yeah, you have to out-pitch him, but then quite honestly, 2-1 ball game. I mean,
he's doing a great job. I mean, he's right there, but not every game, as Walt is quick to point out, are you going to be able to, you know, put 8 or 9 on the board. And Walt was saying that just the other day that if you look at the teams that play in October, there's some big, strong horses out there getting really good lineups out in October.
Well, good pitching. It's the old adage that good pitching does stop great hitting teams. And, you know, you're not facing the 4th and 5th starter in the playoffs. You're facing in that first round 1, 2, and 3, and they're typically very good. I think that's the biggest difference in it.
1-1 on Jason Hayward, local product. He's out of that East Cobb program. That's one of the top amateur programs, really facilities in the country, and they have multiple teams at every age group level, from little guys all the way up. Dexter Fowler played at East Cobb for a period of time. Chris Nelson.
A lot of number 1 draft.
You checked on Nelly lately?
AAA with the Cincinnati Reds. I'll double check it though.
Lyles strikes out Hayward. 5 punch outs now for Jordan Lyles.
Well, what he did there was he just had the ability to elevate the fastball away, and it's difficult for left-handers to get on top of that fastball and drive it. He used to come right out of the hand of Jordan Lyles with movement, with elevation. A good strikeout for Jordan Lyles. By the way, Chris Nelson, 260, 2 home runs, 22 RBIs. He is playing for Louisville Bats, the AAA affiliate of the Cincinnati Reds. Former Rocky Jeff Francis was called up and made a start. Gave up 3 runs in 5 innings in his start with Cincinnati. Was put on waivers, picked up as a long man by the Oakland A's.
0-1 on Upton. Upton a double, and was on a fielder's choice. He scored on that ground out by his brother in the 3rd inning. That's the go-ahead run right now. One, 2, and that's a base hit for B.J. Upton. Auto glass damage, trust Safelite. Go online to safelite.com or call 303-287-5000. 2 outs, 1 on. Freddie Freeman will come up. An all-star last season.
Now the alignment the Rockies put up now is DJ LeMahieu will be basically in short right field. Charlie Culberson, the third baseman, will play up the middle at second base. And then Tulowitzki will man the left side of the infield.
And I think this is a shrewder way of doing it rather than putting your third baseman, depending on who that third baseman is. Now, Arenado is the range he has, he can handle it. Former shortstop. Culberson is a shortstop, so you're fine there. But your best shortstop's that guy. So leave him on the left side.
Just leave him in a natural position versus putting him over into basically where Charlie is. But what you play deeper. There's 2 outs. You're not going to worry about Charlie will take the cover on a throw because he's closest to second base. So you can get there pretty quick. But the way this thing's lined up, it kind of, you've got your coverage this way. So anything hit deep on a pull, they're normally, when a guy, big power hitter like this pulls the baseball, he's going to pull it right into this area hard. So you want to put your second base as deep as you can to be able to increase his range to get to baseballs.
There goes BJ, and the throw's not going to get him. A stolen base for Upton.
See, immediately on something like this, when the left side's open, you notice Troy, when he tried to pick it and missed it, he knew Culberson was behind him, but he immediately went to third base because it's wide open. There's nothing there. Now with the runner at second, they'll go back to more of a conventional defensive alignment with Charlie. Even with the bag at third, you can't leave it wide open. Play a little deeper, see that jump, and then see when it went away from him, you see Troy just circle. Heads up play by Troy just to take off. Tough pitch you throw on, down and away. Just kind of pick that as far away from you as you can, get it back together, and make the throw through.
8 stolen base for BJ. He recently picked off his 250th of his career.
A difficult spot right now because you got Upton, the right-handed hitter, in the on-deck circle. The guy that you have struck out and grounded out. Freeman is 7 for 13, 2 outs and runners in scoring for the Atlanta Braves, and that leads the National League, a .538 average. So far tonight, Atlanta 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. That's credit Jordan Lyles. And the Rockies are 1 for 4.
Braves average is 3.37 runs a game, which is 29th in baseball. Yet they're 26-20, leading the NL East way inside 3-1. Tight game in the 5th inning. You're not going to let Freddie Freeman beat you. At least that's your plan.
Good pitch, got right in on the hands.
Ball
Very
came
good
up
job.
at the end. Nice hands by Morneau. Good pitching by Jordan Lyles. Upton left at second base. We'll go to the 6th, 2-1. Kadire will lead it off for the Rockies. Win, get 40% off your online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code ROXWIN at papajohns.com. With George Frazier and Mark Stout, I'm Drew Goodman. Kadire, Tulowitzki, and Morneau here in the top of the 6th inning. Rockies got their only run back in the second. Leadoff double by Arenado. He eventually scored on a Pacheco ground out. Kadire 1 for 2. His last time up, Frazier, I thought he hit it out.
I did too. I mean, that's 3 balls in the last week that he's hit. 2 to right field at Coors Field, and then this one down the left field line. I thought had a really good chance off the bat to get out of this ballpark. Of course, Upton, knowing the ballpark better than anybody, got his back to the wall and made the catch.
Now, Gavin Floyd, 25 of his first 30 pitchers were in the strike zone. He's thrown 75 pitches now, 53 strikes, 54 strikes.
That's by far one of the better ball games he's pitched so far in a Brave uniform. That as far as the ball strike ratio and the way he's handled this Rocky lineup, the most potent lineup in baseball right now.
Hadn't faced the Rockies since 2011. When he's with the White Sox.
Has not gotten a win since 2012.
October 3rd, last time he won a ball game. Then he had the Tommy John surgery. Kadire batting above 340 with 2 strikes. 1-2, fly ball, deep left field. Did he get this one? Yes, he did. Upton had no play. Michael Kadire has tied it up with his 4th home run of the year.
2nd career home, 7th RBI against Gavin Floyd. So another home run for Michael Kadire.
And the weird thing is, George, the first one I thought was gone. This one I wasn't sure.
You held your breath a minute, didn't you? I don't think any if you look at Kadire, he's not holding his breath coming out of the hand. Tried to run the sinker under the hand, stayed elevated, and Kadire opened that front side turn and delivered a home run to tie this game. 2-2 here in the 6th.
First career home run at Turner Field for the former Twin.
I tell you, the back, weight distribution, and coming forward, some bat speed in a hurry, and you see the bench screaming, get up, and get out, and it does just that. Brandon Barnes and DJ LeMahieu.
One 1-0 on Troy. And that ball ripped up the middle. Base hit for Tulowitzki. Go ahead, run aboard with nobody out. Tulowitzki will be greeted there by Eric Young, and Justin Morneau will be coming up. How about Kadire? Both hits tonight. He came in hitting .333, George, with 2 strikes, which is absurd. And he has 2 more hits tonight with 2 strikes. And not just a 3-2 counts considered a 2-strike count. I mean, upside down counts, 0-2 counts, 1-2 counts.
Well, because he doesn't give away at bats. He grinds on you. You know, he just doesn't go, okay, I'm down 0-2. I want to chase slider out, and he doesn't. Morneau, you look at things going on with him coming into this ball game tonight. He ranks 7th in average, tied for 6th in RBIs, 7th in total bases, 6th in slugging percentage. What a find for Dan O'Dowd. Michael Kadire, the chief recruiter for Justin Morneau to come over from the Twins, where they were longtime teammates.
Now, Cuddy now is homered in 27 different ballparks. And Morneau was on that. He fouled it straight back. George, you ever count up all the parks? Because you were an American League, National League guy. How many parks you pitched in?
Well, I mean, back then, all of them. There's only 26 of them. Back then, I pitched in every one of them. But now, as I started to retire,
before all the new stadiums.
As I started to retire, when I did retire, you know, you had the new ballparks that have come in that I didn't get into. Toronto, I was always in the old ballpark, then pitching the new one.
Where'd you pitch, Jerry Park or Olympic Stadium?
Both, actually. but more that in Olympic than anywhere else. What a bad ballpark. Doomy and gloomy, and nobody show up, and they're in a pennant race, and you still got, you know, great players there. Andre Dawson, Cromartie, Valentine, Steve Cy Rogers, excuse me, won 17 games, went 17-4 one year.
1-2, 2-2.
Floyd had made 6 starts at the AAA level before 3 starts here at the big league level, and before he faced the Rockies tonight. He'd gotten the St. Louis Cardinals twice with no decisions in both ball games.
And that's a good pitch, but Tulowitzki's going to move up on it. It's going to be a strikeout wild pitch. Tulowitzki in scoring position.
Morneau hitting .210 against Gavin Floyd in his career with 30 some odd at bats, and the struggles continue.
We just got bad news, George, on Nolan Arenado.
Yeah, I heard.
He broke the top part of his left middle finger. There is a fracture. And the Twitter universe, if they're to be trusted tonight, said that Josh Rutledge has already been pulled from the Sky Sox game.
I will tell you in just a minute. They're playing in Iowa against the Cubs. This ball fouled up deep. Oh, high. This is one of those, I don't want it. I'll take it. Boy, what is tough news. Dadgummit. They're coming in. Notice this watch didn't hit the spike, but it hit right on the side of it there. And yes, Josh Rutledge has been pulled out of the ball game in Iowa. Drew Garcia's in. Well, when you play the game as hard as Nolan does, sometimes things happen you just regret. And that's one of those things you're regretting right now. That's obvious. And he plays the game hard.
Don't have a time frame on that injury. I would think that it's a little better that it's the left middle finger as opposed to the right middle finger, because that would affect his throwing also.
Catching the baseball, gripping the bat, either way, it's not good. Rutledge was hitting .330 there, .333 in AAA. He's 1 for 2. Ryan Wheeler, the other third baseman down there, 1 for 2 tonight, a cup .262.
See if Dickerson can continue to come through. He's 2 for 2 tonight. Go ahead run is at second base. It seems each of Corey's at bats, he's had an 0-2 count. Couldn't get this one out of the dirt, and Dickerson is out. The Rockies tie it up on the home run by Michael Kadire. 4th of the year for Dyer. It's 2-2 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. George Frazier's hometown to meet up with the top pitching prospects in the Rockies organization. Eddie Butler, John Gray. You're going to go and see John Gray's hometown of Chandler. George, you were involved in that.
Yeah, had a little bit of fun. Took the guys fishing down in Meigs, Oklahoma. We talked a little bit about that down by Slick. Took Tyler Anderson. There he is in the boat along with Tom Murphy. Catch and release. Had a good time down there. Tyler having a tough time tonight. 4 runs given up in 4 innings against Frisco. It's got a pretty good ball club there. The AA affiliate of the Texas Rangers. AAA team was leading 3-2 Colorado Springs over Iowa. All knotted here in Atlanta. The Rockies with 6 hits, a couple of runs. The Braves with 5 hits and 2 runs. Both ball clubs have left 4 on base.
Ground ball foul. Upton, Pena, and Simmons for the Braves in the bottom of the 6th. Shattered bat, look out, and tough play for Tulo.
Oh, man, you kidding me?
All because the bat, I don't know if I've ever seen the bat and the ball arrive at the same time. And that's what happened. And that was the only reason that Upton gets a base hit there.
I really like watching the exchange and how quick Tulo got it to first base even after he battled away from the bat. You know, because as a guy, you're looking at the ball come at you. You're going to see the bat shatter. Right into the hands, right off the label. Everything shatters. Now, do I come in 2 steps and get the ball, or I've got to keep my eye on the bat? Where's the bat going? And it's coming right at him. So he had to back up a step, sidestep, throw, and almost got it. Boys and girls, that's a lot of athleticism. Troy looking over there like, oh, thought I had him.
You make a great pitch, and if the bat goes anywhere else, Justin Upton's out by 2 steps. See if Pena's bunting here. Culberson on the dirt. Line drive center field. And Blackman makes the catch. 1 out.
Don't miss the action at Coors Field when the Diamondbacks, Dodgers, and Braves come to town June 3rd through the 12th at Coors Field. Make sure you get your tickets for that series. 3-team series coming into town. 303 Rockies, Rockies.com. Exciting times. Some very good baseball teams coming in, getting ready to play a really, really good baseball team, the Rockies.
Runner going, and Pacheco's throw is not going to get Justin Upton.
5th stolen base for Upton. A lot has to do with the ability to get the ball to home plate in a hurry. Then as a catcher, it's all about release, footwork, and quickness and accuracy. Bang, bang play at second base. The ball, oh man, just about on time to get up to second.
One and 0 on Andrelton Simmons, and that's on the corner for a strike. Well, the Braves were busy spending money in the offseason. A lot of their young players they wanted to tie up into the future. Simmons got 7 years. Freeman got 8 years. Julio Teheran got 6 years. Craig Kimbrell has already got 151 saves. He got 4 years. Chris Johnson got a 3-year extension. Jason Hayward a couple of years. Hayward was actually the first of the group to sign.
Well, try to keep that nucleus together, keep things where they want it.
There is the general manager, Frank Wren of the Braves.
His brother is the pro scouting director here, Jeff Wren. A family affair. Now don't. There's the patriarch of a lot of ball clubs that still sits here and oversees a lot of things. It's even though he has the title. Smart play, good move, 2 outs. Is that John Sherholz, who's still around the ballpark, goes on the field, greets everybody, says hello to everybody from the visiting ball clubs. Loves to talk baseball.
There's John. And the Braves have kept their front office intact for a significant period. You know who's not here? Brian Snitker, for instance. Doug DeCenzo, 60 years young, is the new third base coach of the Atlanta Braves. Brian Snitker, who had been there, Brian is now, there's Doug. Brian is now down the line, foul.
You're getting late in a ball game. You got to make sure you keep yourself in a position to guard the line down the left field line. You don't want to give up the single, not another double. You don't want anything trading places there. We'll get a good look at it here from the high home look. 2 hops, fair, foul as it got down that third base line. Well, you mentioned Brian Snitker. It's 7 consecutive seasons he'd been with a major league club.
And now he's at Gwinnett County as their manager. AAA affiliate. 0-1 on Ugla. That goes over his head. And Ugla kind of snares out and says something to Lyles.
Did he say I'm hitting 220 for the last 3 years? Why'd you do that? Well, Ugla struggled with 2 outs. He's just gotten 1 hit all year long with a runner in scoring position.
One and 2. 94 pitches in here in the 6th inning for Lyles in a 2-2 ball game. Hits are all even at 6 as well. No errors for either team. The men left on base is even. 4 for the Braves, 4 for the Rockies. Runner at third with 2 outs. 1-2. See you later. Lyles strikes out Ugla. Ugla's still staring at him. Good pitch by Lyles. And we'll go to the 7th. Tied at 2.
Friday, hashtag Toyota Talk is what we use now, at @RootSports_RM, where you tweet us. Katie Brinkley, you have been tweeting us almost every day about Jordan Pacheco and the deal with his numbers. He had 58 when he was first called up in 2011. Then he switched to 22 when he hit 309 in his rookie year. Well, guess who became the manager the year after that? Walt Weiss. 22 is out. He took 15. This year, when Jerry Weinstein left, he decided to go back to 58 because it's what he had when he came up with, and it was kind of a tribute to Jerry, who, of course, was a catching coach and has helped Jordan, who now steps into the box because he's catching here tonight and has done that more so this year. I just wanted to explain that for Katie, guys.
I'm sure Katie appreciates that, Mark, and a lot of people appreciate that because that's
well, it's every
question.
day with the tweet.
A lot of people
58,
throw that
22, 15, 58, Hut.
Exactly. Hurry. Omaha,
Yeah,
Omaha.
Right.
Here's 58 right now, and he takes strike one at the knees from Gavin Floyd. Floyd has pitched well. So has Jordan Lyles. Good bounce back for Jordan Lyles, George, after his last outing against the Padres where he was spraying the fastball.
Well, it's that old saying, you show me once, you can do it again. And he had the bad outing, but he had confidence going into this, not at all like the last couple of years. The confidence, you're 5-1. Makes a huge difference for you. And you go out and pitch against a ball club like the Braves and make pitches, get outs.
Speaking of making pitches, painted down low on the inside corner and then painted low and away on the outside corner, and it's 0-2. Think of what the Braves did. They signed in December the free agent Gavin Floyd, coming off of Tommy John surgery. They had to go out late and get Aaron Harang after he was released, and he pitched some unbelievable games, particularly in April. And then they signed Irvin Santana, and this was after there's going to be a base hit. If it's fair, it is. So Jordan Pacheco with a lead single, and all of those guys have performed admirably.
They've all performed brilliantly. I mean, for their ball club, and to give them a chance of where they are, you know, again, they catch the ball pretty well. They really do. When you have that kind of a mix where you can put it in play and realize that, good things happen for you.
DJ LeMahieu. I love to hit and run with DJ. Out at first base. Wow. Start to wonder if it was on right there, George, the way he's pounded the strike zone. Because, you know, Jordan Pacheco's not a base stealer. Maybe he got half a step more.
Yeah, you can see disappointment right here, too. It's a throw where they get it off of the shoulder. Yeah, they're going to come out and they want to talk about this one, and I think it's probably going to be reviewed too, as he went back in again, because the tag's up on the shoulder. Barksdale's going to say, all right, what, you want to look over to the dugout? Who's your guy?
Well,
it's late in the game. You should. Why not? I mean, it's 2-2 ball game.
It's a huge play.
Yeah, it is. A little hesitation by Jordan to get back in, but see, there he's safe.
Ooh, his hand may have been on that bag.
I think it was on the bag. I think he is safe. I think this is a good review by Walt.
This manager's challenge brought to you by Subaru's EyeSight Driver Assist technology, a vigilant safety feature that gives peace of mind to every drive.
Tag's not there. Tag's not there. I can't see with his knee there.
Move your knee, Freddie. This one should be good here. Look. Hands on the bag. He's safe. You know what? And just at the same time, they were showing it on the Jumbotron, and a lot of folks in the crowd went, ooh, which is indicative that it's not going to go the Braves' way. Brandon Barnes in the on-deck circle, and that's a pretty significant lead for a non-base stealer.
safe. There you go. Got the call for the Rockies. Now take benefit of this.
And that's the best look at it. So the Rockies win that challenge. And LeMahieu's at the plate. Nobody out in a 2-2 game in the 7th. And Jordan shortens up the lead. He was out by the cut of the grass in his first, or his initial lead, when we had the call reviewed, and this lead was shorter a moment ago. Step, step, slide, and a half a slide. Really an ideal guy to have up right now, George, because you can bunt with LeMahieu. As I mentioned, you can hit and run with LeMahieu.
Handles the bat well. I mean, he hit in the 2-hole for a while last year because of what he could do with the bat. Hitting to the right side. That's why Freeman's coming off the bag in a hurry when to throw and the leg gets lifted.
Good bunt. So DJ moves Pacheco into scoring position. And now the Rockies will have a couple of shots at it. Brandon Barnes and Charlie Blackmon. Barnes will bat for Lyles, who goes 6 innings and allows 2 runs on 6 hits. Real good outing for Jordan Lyles in front of so many friends and family in his first ever game in Atlanta. You say, wait a second, Houston played in Atlanta. They did, but Jordan just never started a ball game here.
MLB TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 12 years. Join the millions of subscribers and watch every out-of-market game live and through HD on over 400 devices.
Brandon Barnes at 345 will pinch hit.
6 for 17 this year as a pinch hitter. He's hit a little less than that, quite a bit less than that, with runners in scoring position. 4 for 22, but he gets a shot here with Pacheco at second.
Top of the 7th inning. Rex Brothers.
Big slider, hard slider away for a strike.
Oh, 0-2. Off the plate. 2 outs. Threw him a bunch of sliders. Barnes is gone. That's the 7th strikeout tonight for Gavin Floyd. And with Blackman coming up, they got 3 lefties down in their bullpen. They're going to choose one right now.
Tough decision. He's made 3 starts with 1 loss. Hadn't won a game since October. He walks out of here in a 2-2 ball game. Kadire made it that way in the previous inning and does a nice job. It's a tough decision for a manager to walk to the mound in this situation and pull him, but the Rockies with a chance.
A leadoff double in the 2nd. Great hustle, but bad news on that slide. He would stay in the game and score, but had to come out. He broke his left middle finger. He's going to be out for a while. Jordan Lyles pitched well, 6 strong innings. Michael Kadire, with the Rockies down 2-1, hit a home run in the 6th inning to tie things up. That's where we stand right now, 2-2. Luxury has a new address. Cooney Lexus, open in Greenwood Village in Colorado Springs. 2 outs, the go-ahead run at second base, and Jordan Pacheco. Avilan on to face Charlie Blackman. And a little comebacker, and that will be all for the Rockies in the 7th. Couldn't get the critical key hit. Stretch time in Atlanta, 2-2. Seventh inning, Rex Brothers is aboard. A reminder, fans, check out the Nolan Arenado Rockies all-time hitting streak bats, full-size bat. We've shown it to you during home games. Got action shots of Nolan. It's the same company that did Todd Helton's bat a year ago, Michael Kadyr's batting champion bat as well. Call 866-280-BATS or go online to BigTimeBats.com. So Rex Brothers will take over. He'll see Gerald Laird and then a pinch hitter followed by Jason Hayward in the seventh inning. The Rockies trying to figure out how to win here in Atlanta. It has always been a very difficult place as you look at Rex's numbers. The Rockies are 24-60 in Atlanta, Georgia in their history. And last year they were outscored 40-13 in the set here. George, they're obviously in the game. It's a tied ball game. You got to find a way over the hump here.
Well, and it starts right here with Rex Brothers coming on to pitch the seventh inning. You got to be able to shut things down on the Atlanta Braves and make sure that you take care of business here and make sure your dugout, get right back in the dugout and take on that offense, get after their bullpen. They're going to get rid of a V. Avalon will be out of the ball game. Soft fly ball to right. Kadir on the move will get there and make it.
Wow, that's a tough play for Kadir. You got to break it down and keep the eyes from jiggling and still catch that with LeMahieu running right in front of him. Good play by Kadir. Great range again by DJ to get in the neighborhood.
Typically a dead pull hitter, so that's why it's even difficult farther. You just got to get out of the way, let Kadir make the move on the ball, and he's able to get it on a soft fly ball.
Tyler Pasternak is going to be the pinch hitter.
1 for 6 as a pinch hitter. So important late in the game after the 6th inning to get that lead man, and Brothers did it.
Hits the strike zone there. It's 0-1 on Pasternak, who's more often than not the second baseman for Atlanta.
.385 average against the left-handers. .085, excuse me. Another base hit. .063 against right-handers. The first 8,000 fans on Thursday, June 12th, will receive a Great Clips coupon. Stylist will be on site providing haircuts and collecting donations for Colorado Rockies charities. Presented by Great Clips. Atlanta will be there, so the Atlanta Braves will be back in town. 2 for 7 now as a pinch hitter. Pasternak is.
Hayward tonight 1 for 3. Single back in the third to extend his hitting streak to 11 games. And he takes a slider for a strike. Rex enjoys pitching in the humidity, not far from his home in Tennessee.
I think when you grow up in it, you play in it, the heat doesn't nearly affect you as it does some guys from the West where it's more of a dry heat. Without the humidity, particularly the Arizona type guys. Hayward 0 for 3 against Rex Brothers.
One and 2. He's now ahead of Jason Hayward. B.J. Upton is on deck. And that is a diving stop. Tulowitzki doesn't have a play. First and second, 1 out.
Well, neither one of these baseballs hit off Rex Brothers have been hit very hard. Just skips a couple of times. Tulowitzki playing up the middle, shorten it up only, but they have a chance to make the double play ball.
going to have to backhand the ball and then make a dive for it. Not sure you have a play at second anyway. Another hustle play for Tulowitzki. Dangerous part of this lineup. It's going to be up to Rex Brothers to be able to maneuver through this. Adam Ottavino, the right-hander, with the Rockies, Boone Logan down in the bullpen. You can right left if you have to. Ottavino getting it loose in a hurry under the watchful eye of Bo McLaughlin.
Well, you have Freeman on deck, and obviously you want Brothers to face Freeman. Outside on Upton, who's had one of his better games. He's been on base 3 times. He has a double and a single tonight. Came into the ball game hitting 200, and he had to do work to get the average around there. Last year he hit 184. That's a strike. That was in 126 games. He's a 255 hitter. He's never been a big average guy. He's a 255 hitter in Tampa. But he had home runs and obviously stole a lot of bases. It has not happened for him yet here in Georgia. Signed a 5-year, $75 million deal.
Good idea. Step off, allow DJ to get back to his position. He dove in behind the runner at second. Pasternak to maybe have an attempted pickoff there. And as a pitcher, if you don't think you can get him back where you need to, which is back into his original position at second base, don't advance the baseball to the plate. Too much of a space open on the right side.
Off the plate. A changeup, 2-1. Three and 1.
93-mile-an-hour fastball, 11 pitches for Brothers, 7 for strikes, a couple of softly hit balls. And first and second, get a guy at the plate that's second in the National League in strikeouts right now.
You can see on that 4th strike zone, everything's been away.
A dead pull hitter, when you struggle, you just try to hit the ball out of the yard. Respect. Good pitch by Rex.
3-2, needs to make one more good pitch.
In the past, Rex would offer a very good hard slider here, even in a 3-2 count. See if he goes to it. Fastball at 93. Sometimes you don't have your sign down and you come set. So you just kind of do a little spin to walk off the back of the mound and clear your head before you make the next pitch.
Does that happen at times when you're not convicted?
Very much so. You know, you step off with, and sometimes your feet don't feel right sitting on the rubber. I mean, there's something there that's throwing it off, either mentally or physically. So you step off, walk off, and start over again.
3-2. And a slider, not close. Now the bases are loaded, and the wrong guy's coming up in Freeman. Line single to left with one out by the pinch hitter Pasternak. And then Jason Hayward is hit it in the right spot to the left side of the diamond, and now the walk to Upton.
And Jim Wright's going to come out and visit with Rex Brothers, just kind of slow the game down a little bit and have a visit with him. on the mound. Jimmy's done a good job with his pitching staff so far this year. 1 for 5 against Rex Brothers. Talking about Freeman.
Auto glass damage. Call Safe Light 303-287-5000. Online at safelight.com. Well, you're never trying to walk somebody. Sometimes you are trying to walk somebody, but in the case of Upton, that's the guy you really got to go get.
Yeah, Rex, I mean, he fouled off a couple of fastballs after he fell behind 3-0, and he came with the slider after he fouled off a fastball, and he ends up walking him. Freeman in his career, 11 for 38 with the bases loaded. Mentioned earlier, though, Rex has won the battle 4 out of the 5 times they faced each other. Needs to win one here.
0-1. Talking earlier about Gwinnett County. He's very close friends with Jason Hayward. You know, Freeman is now a $100+ million guy. When they were living together in the area, they'd get up in the morning and Hayward was going to the big league park and Freeman was going to the AAA park. Here's the 0-1, and that's in there. 0-2.
You got 4 pitches to make it you're out. And it's basically what it amounts to.
Got him on 3 pitches. Now you have Ramiro Pena, switch hitter coming up, and Walt is going to go to Ottavino.
Hard slider out of the way out of the strike zone. And it's strike 3 here. So Walt will go to Ottavino. Upton is in the on-deck circle. Shocked me too. I thought maybe they jumped out of order here on us.
Well, I looked down at my book really quickly, and that's what happens when you do that. So they'll get Ottavino to face Upton with 2 outs and the bases loaded. As Walt Weiss stands next to Rex Brothers, and Adam Ottavino will be asked to get Justin Upton with the bases loaded here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Well, you talk about having your back in the bullpen. This is one of those spots that you're pulling, man. It's a unit down there. Each guy's going to have his chance in different situations to pull through, and Ottavino making his 23rd appearance. 19 1/3 on the year, 18 strikeouts, and here is a huge number for me. In his career, the opposition is 4 for 25 with the bases loaded, 160. This is the first time he's entered the game this year with the bases loaded. He's inherited 4 base runners this year. 2 have scored. But you got a guy that strikes out a lot. You got a guy on the mound with a nasty slider. Get him out of there.
There's the slider, and it's fouled off. Upton was sitting on it. It's 0-1. Our cold hard facts are brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Atlanta 20-5 this season when homering, 6-15 when they don't. Last year 78-28. Michael Kadire, the only home run in this game. Here's the 0-1. Line drive, right field. Kadire gets there. What a play by Michael Kadire. And the Rockies work out of it. The Braves leave them loaded in the 7th.
Get an out any way you can. Flying to the line. Kadire able to catch it. Nobody likes it more than Adam Ottavino. Tie ball game in Atlanta.
Justin Morneau for the Rockies. Go to CFDRodeo.com/FGL for your chance to win tickets to see Florida-Georgia line. They'll have special guest Colt Ford there on July 23rd at Cheyenne Frontier Days as well. Grand prize package includes a VIP bull riding World Finals experience, concert tickets, hotel, much more. For rules and more information, visit CFDRodeo.com/FGL. David Carpenter, the 8th inning man for the Atlanta Braves, is aboard here in a 2-2 ball game.
Yeah, they seem to keep finding guys that just throw hard and can get you out in a hurry. Usually in the 8th inning. Big numbers on the year: 268, 20 1/3, 24 strikeouts, just 5 walks. This is a good matchup for Troy Tulowitzki for the simple reason hard throwers, he typically can get after it. 94 with the first offer.
Kadire, an infield hit in the first, nearly hit one out in the 3rd inning. Justin Upton made a catch against the wall in left center field, and then he did hit one out in his last at bat. And now he's right where he wants the at bat to be. He's 0-2.
Exactly right. Elevate me a fastball. You notice how Laird stood up and it was down and he hit it out.
The reason I mentioned that about 2 strikes, Cuddy's hitting close to 350 with 2 strikes this year, and both of his hits tonight have come with 2 strikes. And that's poked over to Freeman, who just did flip it in time to Carpenter covering. Great hustle as always by Michael Kadire. Well, you know the hamstring's 100% based on the last two plays that Kadire has been involved in. The running catch down the right field line, or near the right field line, and then trying to leg out this ball on the right side of the diamond.
Well, not only that catch there, I mean, you're going to see the hustle right here. Just gets there in front of Michael Kadire. Remember the soft fly ball to right also he ran in and got.
One out. Here's Tulowitzki. Troy, a sharp single up the middle his last time up, 1 for 3, and he takes a strike at 96. Who wants tacos? Fans follow @RootSports_RM on Twitter to receive alerts when the Rockies do score 7 or more for the Rockies taco special, courtesy of Taco Bell. David Carpenter's another one of those converted guys, George, and he wasn't a middle infielder. He was a catcher. His first 2 years in pro ball were as a catcher, and that's what he played at West Virginia in Morgantown.
Found out it was easier to throw a slider than hit a slider, like a lot of guys. They got a good arm, and somebody obviously saw something and said, hey, let's put this guy on the mound with the power arm and see what happens. Things been pretty good. That last fastball to Tulowitzki really ran away from Troy, and it was at 96 miles an hour off the plate, but that late life on the fastball. He was able to get the strikeout. Carpenter is on a ball perfectly placed to Tulowitzki.
Justin Morneau 0 for 3. And that's inside. 2 balls, no strikes on Morneau. Rockies didn't take formal batting practice out on the field today after arriving close to 5 in the morning last night after the 2 rain delays. And Morneau loops this to left. That's going to drop. And Justin trying to turn it on. Here's the throw. Not going to get him. Great hustle by Morneau. Justin Upton just assumed, hey, big guy, it's a bloop single. I'll, get to the baseball and throw it in. And as you know, with Justin Morneau, he's always going to go hard. And we've seen him do this before. This is an enormous play if the Rockies can throw out a hit behind him.
Absolutely it is. Dumped to left field. But look at Upton come in on the ball. Never looked at the runner. Then he stayed back barehand. I got to make a fire strike on it. It's the second time tonight. Arenado once, and then now this one. But Morneau just looked, and then he cut that bag tremendously coming into second base. Slid hard into Oakland in the bag. And now you got him at second base. Man, I don't care how you get him in. A flare any way you can.
Culberson 0 for 2 since taking over for Nolan Arenado, who again broke his finger on a slide in the second inning. Middle finger on his left hand. And this is slowly hit up the third base line. Pena on the move, out at first base. You saw the middle infielder instincts.
Yeah,
from
Walt's
Pena.
going to hold everybody too. We're going to probably have an appeal on this. They'll bring him back out on the field.
You know, with the naked eye, it looked like he was out, but Pena with that exchange, George, very cool. Ramiro Pena will lead things off against Adam Ottavino. Here's our AT&T fan photo of the game. A couple of young ladies having fun at Coors Field. Tweet us your photo to #COFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming game broadcast. It's brought to you by AT&T. Fastball misses, ball one. Andrelton Simmons and Dan Uggla. The next two in the Braves lineup here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Well, the 9th inning in a tie game at home for Atlanta, you know who you're going to get. Craig Kimbrell will come on.
You always out on the road. When you're at home, you're going to take the closer and use it any way you can and make sure you get to hit in the 9th to keep the game in place.
Pena hits this one well. Blackman going back, still going back. It's going to be off the wall. It's a leadoff double for Ramiro Pena.
Well, look at it again. Slider that they're trying to backdoor to the outside corner. He got out in front on this as it stayed a little bit up in the zone. Charlie can only play it off of the wall. It bounced, and a couple of times Charlie's done a pretty good job with that, getting the ball back in again. It's in the right part of the order because Pena's going to bunt, more than likely. They have used off of their bench so far. They got Kelly Dumit, the backup catcher, 1 of 3, 1 of 2 with Gaddis. It's a switch hitter still. Then they have Jordan Schaefer from the left side.
Simmons takes a slider for ball one.
Excuse me, I called him Kelly. His name's Ryan Doman.
Former Pirate Ryan Doman. He had the game-winning hit yesterday. Braves won 5-4 over Milwaukee.
Boone Logan has started to warm up for the Rockies. When they get ready to go to their bench, I would think that's what they would do with Ugla coming up. It won't take long for that veteran to get loose.
Play, and it's 2-1.
Simmons this year has hit .269 with men in scoring position. Tonight, let's hope it follows the trend. The Braves are 0 for 10.
You surprised they're not bunting Simmons?
Yes, I am very surprised. Obviously, they can see down to the bullpen to see if Logan's ready or not. They got two left-handers on the bench they can use to pinch hit against Ottavino.
Well, I mean, you get the bunt down, and you have good speed at second base. You force the Rockies to pull the infield in.
Well, the one thing maybe he's not a good bunter.
Come on, man, he's a middle infielder,
that
right?
Doesn't matter.
I mean, in the big leagues.
Hey,
right?
Willie Taveras was a great bunter till you ask him to bunt sacrifice. He couldn't do it. So maybe there's something there that obviously Freddie Freeman knows that we're not aware of, but it does surprise me.
Another foul ball. Simmons had 5 sacrifice bunts last year. Not going to do it now. 2-2. Two got him with a fastball. 1 out. And Pena's still at second. Dan Ugla coming up. The Ford Strike Zone's powered by Ford Cars, big MPG, smart technology, unsurpassed quality. See what happens when fun meets the road. Ford, go further.
Hard slider away. You take it farther off the plate, eliminate what happens with it. The ball looked like the cut, but it was a fastball at 93, but late cut after the sliders had been fouled off numerous times. This ball right there fooled me a little bit with the cut on it. Nonetheless, it's a strikeout, and Ugla will hit. Tell you, this lineup at this point really fit well for Ottavino if they don't go to their bench. Right-handed guys that are bad breaking ball hitters.
Gerald Laird scheduled next. Where's that? It's in the Ford Strike Zone. Called a ball. It's 1-1.
I've had quite a few of these tonight. Must have appeared low to Kerwin Daniel.
Just inside. 2-1. Pena at second, a leadoff double. 3-1 on Ugla. Bottom of the 8th inning, 2-2.
.82-mile-an-hour slider for a strike from Ottavino.
Steady diet of sliders. You throw fastball here, 3-2, George?
I don't. I go slider. That's your game's on the line. You're going to get beat with your best pitch, in my opinion. You don't get beat with your second best. And in the case of Ottavino, his slider's near unhittable. Ottavino letting Pacheco know tough time seeing right now. So you take it outside the center of the body so they can see it.
He goes fastball and he strikes him out.
Elevated fastball at 93, 2 in a row in the punch outs. 2 big punch outs by Ottavino. And you like this. No question about it. Above the hands, Oakland could not catch up to it after a diet of sliders. Ottavino's pitching tonight, folks. They didn't catch up to this one.
Gerald Laird, who doubled back in the 2nd inning to drive in the first Braves run. It tied it after the Rockies got a run in the top of the 2nd. Also a fly ball to center and a fly ball to right.
With the Rockies right now, you have Gonzalez put the finger, not sure he could do anything. So you have Stubbs and Rosario on the bench.
One and one. And the 1-1 to Laird. Pulled through the hole, base hit. Around third's Pena, throw to the plate, not in time, and it goes all the way to the backstop. Laird gives Atlanta a 3-2 8th inning lead. The backup catcher, Gerald Laird, playing only because Evan Gattis has been ill with a virus.
Hitting 184 coming into the game. He has 2 of the 3 RBIs in this game tonight. Another slider, but it was out away from him. I mean, it's just a nice job of hitting. I mean, it's not a bad pitch by Ottavino. And a good play by Dickerson. He got to the ball in a hurry, just offline. Pacheco had to go get it. Ottavino backed it up, but not before Laird could get the second.
Before that hit, Atlanta tonight was 0 for 11 with runners in scoring position. You don't stand up and shout about 1 for 12, but right now it's given the Braves a late lead. Ryan Domit, the former Pirate, switch-hitting catcher, outfielder, takes a strike.
7 for 21 as a pinch hitter, a home run and 4 RBIs. For Ryan Domit, a guy that this is why the Braves got him. To be able to swing late, versatile, can play right, first catch, most of the time pinch hitter. They got him to play late in games. He's hit 18 times from the left side, and he's 5 for 18. The home run came on the right side of the plate.
You know who's waiting in the 9th inning? Craig Kimbrell. As good as there is closing out games in baseball. One and two. Gerald Laird, a career .246 hitter, with the 2 hits tonight, now 14 for 29 in his career against the Rockies, a .483 average.
For Ottavino, his pitch total pretty extended in this outing. 23 right now for him. It's not. He doesn't throw that many normally. Boone Logan is loose in the Rockies bullpen. Hayward due up next. Left-handed hitting Hayward. Headache.
In the inning, Atlanta gets the go-ahead run. A leadoff double by Pena. Gerald Laird with 2 outs, singles of home. 3-2 going to the 9th. Scheduled against Craig Kimbrell. Let's go to our Denver studios, check in with Jenny. All right, Jenny, Spilly, thank you. Hopefully that Loto magic is transferred down here to Atlanta, Georgia. Kimbrell's on the mound, and he has an explosive fastball. And he's a guy, George, that was assigned closing duties shortly after he got to the big leagues. And he got to the big leagues out of a junior college in Alabama quickly.
Trained to be a closer. He was in Rome, Georgia when my son was pitching in the Sally League, and Parker had told me, wait till you see this guy throw the baseball. And I witnessed it. 2 innings, 6 punch out. He set 98 and the slider was 89. I remember coming here and telling Bobby Cox, you got a closer in the weight down here in Rome, Georgia. Well, 151, second on the list behind John Smoltz for the all-time lead here. Just 3 back right now. Mark Wohler, some pretty good ones. John Rocker, Gene Garber, and Meyer, 141 career saves in a Brave uniform. But he can be beat. 12 of 14 in save opportunities this year.
Rockies beat him once a year ago. Dickerson takes ball 1. Corey, 2 infield hits and 3 at bats. At 96 on the corner, 1-1.
Got a little bit of the appears to be Jonathan Papelbon with the set up the way he does things to get his sign, staring in at the opposing hitter.
Willeen Rosario's in the on-deck circle to hit for Pacheco.
He liked the power. He's 1 for 3 in his career.
Go Rosario, and Cargo was swinging the bat this afternoon, and Cargo evidently is okay because he's got the hat on and the bat in hand. So Cargo, this game won't end with him not getting an AB. You would figure. 3-1. A 25-year-old with 150 saves.
A right-handed Billy Wagner is what he is. 10 games against the Rockies, 9 of 10 save opportunities.
Corey had a little drop and drive on that swing. It's 3-2.
10 in the third career innings against the Rockies. 19 strikeouts, 5 walks. Has an earned run average of 2.61 in his career versus the Rockies.
Save percentage of just under 90%, third all time among relievers with at least 150 save opportunities. He's been that good. Rockies trying to beat him here, though, at Turner Field. Dialed up 97, 1 out.
Difficult to get on top of the fastball away from you. And I understand Corey Dickerson trying to get extra bases in a game when you're down by 1. That fastball at 97, he ratcheted it up a couple of miles an hour to get this strikeout of Dickerson. Yeah, you mentioned 25 years old. Shave his goatee off, he could be the bat boy every night. Baby face, young looking kid, got a big arm.
Here's Rosario to pinch hit. Slider. For the moment, LeMahieu's in the on-deck circle. And he's probably, thinking about it, George, he's probably got a hit because with Arenado out of there, if the Rockies were to tie it up defensively, you'd be short.
Well, the only thing you could do with it, I'm trying to think here how you could work it. Kadire
would have to play second.
And he can.
He can. See Pacheco there, in fact. CenturyLink What's Next, brought to you by CenturyLink. Link to what's next. Here's the 9-game road trip for the Rockies. Philadelphia and then Cleveland. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Rosario. I mentioned Pacheco. Pacheco's being pinch hit here for Rosario. So Kadire. Anyhow, first things first.
You got to tie it.
Got to tie it.
Figure out you tie it up, then you got a chance to worry about it. Right now, it doesn't look good with the way he's throwing the baseball. Another pretty good fastball coming right out of the hands. Missed location, velocity overtakes, and you have success. 97 miles an hour.
So DJ will hit, and Cargo is in the on-deck circle, hoping for an opportunity. LeMahieu 0 for 2 and a sac bunt. 2 outs, nobody on. 3-2 Atlanta in the 9th. Nothing you can do about that pitch. 96 miles an hour on the edge of the plate. It's 0-2.
Yeah, the value of a closer like this, it just slams the door, and it'll be 152 for him if he finishes this off. It's so valuable to a team.
Here's the 0-2. And he struck him out. He struck out the side. He got him on a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and the Braves win a game that they win quite frequently. Low-scoring, one-run affairs, 3-2. They beat the Rockies tonight. Carpenter gets the win. He's now 4-0. Ottavino takes the loss. He's 0-1. Kimbrel with his 13th save. The 152nd of his career, too shy of John Smoltz's club record. Atlanta has now won 13 of their last 14 games at Turner Field against the Rockies. So the Rockies start the road trip with a 3-2 loss. It's now 4 straight games that they've scored 2 runs or less. And with that, we'll get you to the Toyota postgame show in Denver. Jenny and Spilly.